So, you turned Rio Tinto around from losing $3 billion to making a $3.6 billion profit. How did you do it?
We pulled extraordinary costs out of the business. We pulled $6.8 billion, not million, billion dollars out of the business. And this is going to sound incredibly trite, but I said to people, I want you to run the business as if you're owners. I want you to spend money as if it's your own. And it sounds incredibly trite, but by gosh, it worked. I had people in very remote areas say, Sam, this project came over my desk and, it was in the plan and budget and what have you, but if it was my money, I wouldn't be spending on it. It won't deliver the value. I know it won't deliver the value. So we stopped it. And, there are a whole raft of things. Now, obviously, we did a lot with automation. We did a lot with standardisation, as I've mentioned. We did a lot in terms of improving our procurement and purchasing and sort of doing things as a group rather than all of the 500 subsidiaries doing their own thing. Rio, when I took over, had $6 billion, again not million, $6 billion of working capital. And you can say, well, what's that? Well, it's a whole raft of things. It's obviously the items in the stores and the rotables, or the replacement parts for equipment, right through to, production people will always overproduce because that reduces their cost. But you've then got to fund the fact that they've produced all this dirt that you don't actually need right now. So it's reduced their operating cost, but it's increased your capital cost. So there were a whole raft of things like that. The other problem with it was that it was actually overhanging the market in terms of pricing. So it was not only hurting us in terms of our debt, and we had significant debt, but it was also hurting us in terms of the revenue that we're earning. So taking $5 billion out of that was hugely significant. It made a real difference. The other thing, it forces organisations to actually operate more efficiently and more effectively. If you don't have 6 months supply of finished product sitting there, well, guess what? You've got to make sure that your maintenance is top notch and you're operating and producing and what have you. So it instilled discipline across the company. But it wasn't me that did all this. It was the organisation. A person sitting in the corner office. I used to say this, and my public affairs people said, Sam, you can't say this. I used to say that the CEO doesn't do anything. Well, what I was really meaning is, the CEO doesn't drive a haul truck, doesn't operate a shovel or a ship loader or whatever. A CEO sets strategic direction. A CEO gives people their mission and values and brings on an organisation that's capable of delivering against a plan. It is important to hold people to account, don't get me wrong, but the CEO is not actually doing very much at all. Now, you can see why my public affairs people didn't like me saying that. But it is true, but it comes back to what I was saying earlier about setting the context, giving people the ability to actually track what they're doing and see how see how they're performing.